Plus, severe weather and football, how the mix is causing problems for the sport and its fans this summer in the US.
Temperatures in the UK could be higher than parts of the Caribbean today as the second heat wave of the summer continues.
Give us a wave, guys. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm also at Wimbledon on what could be the hottest opening day of the championships on record.
Tonight at 6, parts of Britain swelter in near record temperatures as a heat wave spreads across Europe. It's the second heat wave this month, with temperatures in England above 33 degrees Celsius.
It's day 6 of this current heat wave, and it's going to be a particularly uncomfortable tropical night for some of us in the south and east, with overnight temperatures not expected to fall below 20 Celsius.
This is a snapshot of the heat today across the near continent. Mid-40s for Iberia, 40 or so for central southern Spain, and we'll be probably hitting the 34 Celsius mark for us. Unusual to see these sorts of values in June. It's more likely in July and August.
Certainly here in Oxford, blue sky and sunshine. It may be nearly 6:30, but the temperature is still around 30 Celsius. And at Wimbledon today, we've had that record-breaking temperature, the hottest ever opening day of the championships, with temperatures of 32.9 Celsius. And actually, we've got more of the same at Wimbledon over the next 24 hours or so. Another really hot, humid feeling sunny day on Tuesday.
And today's blistering heat tips June 2025 into the hottest on record for England.
In the UK, as we've been hearing, there are warnings this lunchtime about the impact on health, with temperatures expected to hit 34, maybe even 35 Celsius this afternoon in Greater London and Bedfordshire. We've got a graph to show you now. It goes back to the 1880s and shows the average temperatures in the UK between the Industrial Revolution and today. And as you can see on the further section of the chart there, over the last 30 years, there has been an increase in temperatures, with nearly every year being above average. And during that time, the average global temperature has increased by just over 1.1 Celsius, which might not sound very much, but scientists say it is enough to create more heat waves like the one we're experiencing at the moment.
Temperatures in London today reached 32.5 Celsius. That's more than 90 Fahrenheit, as heat health alerts were extended for some parts of England. It's still way below the overall record for June, which stands at 35.6, which was recorded in 1976. But the summer's second heat wave isn't over, and it's set to be even hotter tomorrow. Geraint Vincent has the latest.
Across 6,500 acres of East Sussex is Ashdown Forest. Once a hunting ground for Norman kings, it remains a precious habitat. And on the ground, the people who look after it are getting more worried about the effects of the heat.
If I just put my hand in the grass and pick out some of this, it's just bone dry.
Higher temperatures for longer mean that the threat of wildfire hangs in the air here much more than it used to.
We've got about 2.5% of the UK's whole lowland heathland area, and it's that land which is home to these really specialist birds, butterflies, reptiles, and every year is getting hotter and hotter. So we have to be laser sharp every year to make sure that we're doing absolutely everything we can in terms of managing the landscape.
That means widening the fire breaks to contain the fires when and if they catch, banning barbecues and encouraging visitors not to drop litter.
Little things like discarding glass bottles in the countryside can start a fire. But also within the home, we've discarded glass where we're placing mirrors within the home that can reflect sunlight and actually cause fires within the home as well.
And that's to do with the power of the sunshine, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah, we are seeing that within the UK, the climate is changing. It's impacting on the role that we do and how it's impacting our communities that we serve.
Half an hour's drive down the road from Ashdown Forest, Brighton Beach.
Soaking up the sun. I mean, yeah, it's like I'm on holiday.
I'm from Turkey, so I love the heat, I love the weather, I love the sun.
It's too hot. I say it's like the UV is like 9. It's crazy hot today. Like, I'm pretty sure is it the hottest day today?
Longer, hotter summers have some obvious benefits for those at leisure. There are corners of the British Isles which look and feel like the Mediterranean today. But for those tasked with keeping our environment safe, they are changing everything. Geraint Vincent, ITV News.
Well, it's not just the UK struggling with the sweltering conditions. A major heat wave is continuing to grip large parts of continental Europe, driving temperatures and record highs and prompting widespread health and fire alerts. Records were broken in Spain over the weekend, where temperatures reached a high of 46 Celsius. The southern city of Seville is forecast to experience more than 40 Celsius heat for the next 3 days. And in Turkey, wildfires raged for a second day in the western province of Izmir, forcing the airport to be closed and the evacuation of 4 villages. Over 250 wildfires have broken out across the country over the past 3 days, fanned by strong winds and hot, dry weather.
Good evening. London sweltered today as temperatures soared. Good evening and welcome to the BBC News at 6. Parts of the UK are sweltering and near record temperatures for June, above 33 degrees Celsius, as the second heat wave this month bakes the south and east of England. This is the beach at Brighton today. To experience 2 heat waves so close together is unusual for June, but it is becoming more common. It's meant the hottest start to Wimbledon on record. We'll have more on that in a moment. But it wasn't just here. Blistering heat is gripping parts of Europe. Villages have been evacuated in western Turkey as wildfires are raging, fanned by strong winds. And France has issued an unprecedented number of heat alerts, with Paris on the highest level. Our weather presenter Sarah Keith-Lucas is in Oxford for us. Sarah, how unusual is this weather?
Well, Fiona, we do see heat waves in Europe pretty much most summers, but what we're seeing at the moment is very extreme, because actually temperatures have been between about 5 to 10 Celsius above average, and we've broken all-time temperature records for June in both Spain and in Portugal as well. Now, we have been drawing in some of that hot air from further south across Europe. I've spent the day here in Oxford at the UK's oldest weather station, and right here it has been another sweltering and really sticky feeling day.
Whilst many students have headed home for the summer break, locals and visitors to the city have taken advantage of the quieter streets to soak up the sunshine and search out the shade.
I'm originally from Bangladesh. Right now I think my body is now more adjusted to this weather, the winter cold weather. So even this is 33 degrees Celsius, which is nothing compared to Bangladesh weather. I do feel very hot.
So you're not out playing tennis in temperatures like this, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm just getting it re-gripped, but maybe in a couple of days.
You know, it helps to have a fan or a smoothie and stay in the shade.
At the Radcliffe Meteorological Station here, weather observations are taken daily.
So we have a variety of different measurements at this station, and I'll show you first what's here in the Stevenson screen.
And this site holds the title for the longest continuous weather records in the UK.
So what we've got here are some of the records from the Radcliffe Meteorological Station.
So how does this heat wave compare to the past 200 years?
We're seeing a lot more heat waves, and they are reaching maximum temperatures that are a lot higher. And as well as that, we're also seeing the temperature increases that we're getting globally as a result of climate change.
And it's another really hot day today in Oxford. We could see the peak of the heat wave here today, Is that right?
Yes, it likely will be the peak, with temperatures in the low 30s, which is close to our maximum temperature ever recorded in June, which was 34.3 degrees in June of 1976. But this is the 4th day of the heat wave here in Oxford, although other areas of the UK are now on their 6th day.
So we're in another heat wave, the second one we've seen this month. And the Met Office defines heat waves as at least 3 consecutive days above the heat wave threshold, which ranges between 25 and 28 Celsius. Heat waves are most common in the southeast of England. Now, in pre-industrial times, before climate change, we typically saw a heat wave during June once in every 50 years. Add on 1.3 degrees of warming, and we now see a June heat wave in the southeast once in every 5 years. That's a 10-fold increase in their likelihood. And with heat waves expected to become even more frequent in the future, there are growing concerns about how they're going to be affecting our lives and our health.
So the heat we're experiencing this week is likely to lead to a range of heat-related health impacts. One of those impacts, unfortunately, could be heat-related deaths, and this is likely to be a result of people not keeping cool, not shading themselves, not avoiding strenuous activities during the hottest part of the day, and this could lead to increased pressure on the healthcare system.
So, with amber heat health alerts in force for parts of England until Wednesday morning, we're likely to see another uncomfortable night and a very hot day for some tomorrow.
Well, if you are not a fan of this kind of temperature, and I know for many people this is just a little bit too hot, you'll be pleased to hear that there's some relief on the way. Later on this week, we're going to see a drop in those temperatures, something cooler and fresher on the way.
Towards record-breaking highs. It's been the joint hottest June since records began and the hottest start to a Wimbledon Championships ever. But as the capital basked in sunshine, those who run the services we rely on did their best to keep their cool. Antoine Allen reports.
As temperatures rise, so does the risk of danger during the heat wave. London peaked at 33.1 degrees today, making this one of the hottest Junes on record. Lifeboat operators want the public to stay safe while seeking an escape from the heat.
Go as a group, understand what the tide's doing. That water can come in under 4 hours and cut everyone off completely. So it's being aware of the tides.
Andy has potentially life-saving advice for anyone that gets into trouble in the water and is waiting for help to arrive.
Float on their back, at shape of a starfish, hands and legs out, and just stay calm. We will be coming along. If there's anything to get hold of that float in, that's even better.
According to the UK Health Security Agency, the heat wave is causing significant strain on the health and social care services. The London Fire Brigade has issued a warning for severe risk of wildfires. This year, LFB have already responded to 10 such call-outs. They are trialling new specialist equipment to tackle the growing threat to London's communities near parks and greenlands. This smaller fire truck is capable of going off-road, but they hope strong messaging will limit call-outs.
So far we've had 15 wildfires in London. Fortunately, they're not been big enough to affect residential properties, and that's just due to the rapid attacks of the vehicles that we've been attacking these fires with. It is a sign of things to come, I think, with the weather we're having now, and I think the future landscape of firefighting is definitely looking more likely that we're getting more and more wildfires.
The heat is putting London's transport network to the test. Workers and tourists travelled across the capital alongside an increase in commuters due to Wimbledon, which is off to a record start. It recorded the hottest opening day of the SW19 tournament's history. TfL are asking commuters to take the heat wave into account when planning their journeys.
We've got a comprehensive plan that looks at managing our infrastructure. We constantly manage track temperatures. We support our colleagues who are working very hard out on the network, and we're looking after customers during this hot weather.
London's Amber Alert has been extended until Wednesday morning. The next days in the capital are expected to be hotter than even Barbados. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
Well, viewers of a certain vintage will remember the summer of 1976. And this year, temperatures have been just as high. Well, Sally's in Wimbledon this evening. Sally, can we expect any let-up in this heat?
No, not just yet. Sadly for some of us, Carolyn. I'm at Wimbledon. It's absolutely baking. People here in the hot, hot sunshine, never mind those on court. They've had the hottest opening day to Wimbledon ever by more than 3 degrees. Top temperature today was recorded as 33.1 at Heathrow. Now, if you look at this chart, we didn't quite reach the 34 we thought we might have today, but we could well tomorrow. And then some of you might be pleased to hear the temperatures just come down as we go into Wednesday and through the rest of the week. I just want to also let you know, as you've mentioned, provisionally the joint warmest June on record, joint with 1976, and that hasn't included today's heat, so it could well be the warmest. That's off the record warmest spring in Greater London. So records being broke left, right and centre.
Well, the players had to overcome the record-breaking temperatures at Wimbledon today, and the heat hasn't put the fans off either. Sally is in SW19 for us now. What a hot start to the tournament, Sally.
You're telling me I don't dare touch my face because all the makeup will come off on my hand. There's a semi-carnival atmosphere here. Lots of tents, people camping, people queuing, but the heat is subduing things a little bit, I won't lie. There's some people here who've come from Germany. Guys, give us a wave. This is the 5th time they've done this, so they know the drill. I also spoke to some people in the queue earlier to find out why. Where have you come from today?
From Maryland, United States.
What? Maryland, America? Are you okay? In this queue?
This is the weather I live in.
Oh, fair enough. Yes, fair enough.
We'll get in to see the final point of like the last match.
It'll be the best point ever. Can I come in with you?
Yes.
What a relief. And how long have you been queuing?
Like since 12:30.
Wow.
I think.
Big tennis fan?
No, not at all. Sorry, I don't watch tennis.
Okay, there are no words to describe you, but well done. Good luck. I forget my umbrella in the rain, and I forget it in the sunshine. I must have a slight problem with them, but that is what I need. My mum did warn me. I'm just not physiologically designed for the sun, but look at these women here. They are fully lapping it up. I need to be more like them, don't I? I've mentioned, got this tropical night. I'll explain that more in the forecast, but what it means is our temperatures just don't really drop down, and that's why it's such hard work. But people here don't seem to care. Look at them all in the queue, hoping they'll get in tonight.
Well, as we've been hearing, it's been one of the hottest June days ever today, with temperatures 10 degrees warmer than usual for this time of year. Amber health alerts have been extended until Wednesday morning, meaning the weather is likely to affect everyone, not just vulnerable people, and with travel disruption likely too. And it was the hottest day of Wimbledon in the championship's history. From there, Aisha Baksh reports.
The start of Wimbledon on one of the hottest days of the year so far. For anyone working outside, this heat can be challenging. But for Sam, it's worth it, just to be at this world-famous tennis tournament.
It's going very well. Really, really warm. Lots of people, very happy. Really nice to obviously start the championships. It's the best 2 weeks of the year for me personally.
I've never been to an event like this, so I'm very excited.
I almost bought a straw hat, but then I bottled it, so we're going to hope it's going to be all right, but I've got the sunglasses on.
It would have been great to have got in to see Nadal and Federer in their prime, but no, looking forward to seeing Alcaraz and Taylor Fritz and everyone like that. It's a bit later on, so it'll be good. Yeah.
For many, the weather is a welcome opportunity to be outside and enjoy the sunshine. But for those who may be more vulnerable, the extreme heat comes with a health warning.
We're not saying don't go outside, we're not saying don't enjoy it, but some people will find it difficult, so make sure you're checking on those people, particularly the elderly, who we advise to stay out of the extreme heat and stay indoors, but that can be quite frustrating for them. So make sure they're okay, make sure you cover up, use sun cream, make sure you drink plenty of water, try and avoid alcohol in excess, because that will make you more dehydrated and cause you to be more at risk of getting heat exhaustion.
Despite sweltering temperatures and little shade, the All England club welcomed thousands of people. But keeping cool and hydrated was very much the order of play.
Well, for players on court, there are heat protocols. When the temperature rises above 30 Celsius, they can take extra time out during play. But for fans on the hill here and inside, they have to find their own ways of keeping cool.
So we've got our own cool spray, we've got a fan, drinking lots of water. Luckily we're in court number 1, so we're on the shade. And a little bit of alcohol, that goes a long way.
We were sitting in the shade, we were quite lucky actually, but just drinking lots of water.
Drinking lots and lots of water.
Yes.
Hats. Fan. And just sitting here, we're in a breeze, so that's good.
And further high temperatures are expected here at Wimbledon and across the country.
Aisha Baksh reporting there. Well, as Aisha said in that report, it has been extremely hot in London today, and all this heat can be quite dangerous to our health, especially those who are more vulnerable. It can lead to conditions like heat stroke and dehydration, as well as making existing conditions like asthma much worse. Well, I'm very pleased to say I'm joined now by Dr. Sonia Adasara, who's a London-based GP. Thank you so much for coming in on what is indeed a very, very hot day. There'll probably be going to be people at home who are watching this and rolling their eyes, saying, I know what to do, I know to keep cool, I know to drink water, but actually this is something we have to take quite seriously, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I also love the hot weather, and I'm often telling my patients to get out and get vitamin D, but we also need to be aware of the risks from extreme heat. So in the past few years, we have been seeing the UK get hotter as a result of climate change. And as a result, we have been seeing more and more people get heat-related illness, but also sadly, people dying as a result of the heat. So in 2022, when we had these sort of really hot temperatures, we estimate about over 2,000 people lost their lives as a result of that heat. So it's really important that people can take steps to protect themselves and be careful in this weather. weather. As you said, there are certain people who are more vulnerable to this heat.
Well, let's talk about sort of the young and old, because I think sometimes it can be quite difficult to see, can't it, when they present with dehydration or they are suffering with the heat. What should people look out for?
Absolutely. So people that are more vulnerable can be people who are less able to regulate their heat, particularly babies and young children, but also elderly people. And what I always tell my patients, a key thing to look out for is the colour of your urine. So your urine should be clear or pale straw coloured. If you're finding that it's getting darker, so it's like a dark brown or an orange colour, then that means that you're not hydrated enough. And particularly with babies as well, monitor how many wet nappies they're having. So if they're having less wet nappies, then that means there's a risk of dehydration. But I'd say with everyone, it's really, really important that you keep cool and keep hydrated. That's like the key message here.
Can I just thought, how do sort of symptoms present? Because we can talk about sort of two different things, so heat stroke and heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
How do symptoms present in those things?
Yeah, so if you get heat exhaustion, you may get symptoms of feeling quite tired, fatigued, muscle weakness, you may be feeling quite nauseous, you may be feeling excessively thirsty, quite lethargic. And if you have any of those symptoms, you need to cool yourself down. So go into a cool place, remove any extra clothing. You can cool yourself down with cool drinks, wet flannel, and you should start to feel better within half an hour. Now, heat stroke is more serious. The symptoms of heat stroke can be being quite confused, disorientated. Your skin may be very hot to touch, but you're not sweating, and you may start fitting or having a seizure. Now, if anyone has symptoms of heat stroke, that's a medical emergency,
so
and you need to call 999. If you've got those symptoms, you need to call 999 because it's a medical emergency.
But on a daily basis, then it is a question of just making sure you keep hydrated. And does being in air conditioning help at all? Does that make a difference?
Yes, absolutely. So it's about keeping cool and keeping hydrated. The hottest times of day tend to be between 11 and 3 p.m. So avoiding heat in those times. Also avoiding things like exercise or exerting yourself during those times. But of course, there are certain places where, I can talk about our hospitals, for example, where they don't have aircon. So in those places, making sure we're trying to keep buildings as cool as possible, keep aerating those places, and really, really important, hydrate yourself. And I saw, your viewers at Wimbledon, if you're having alcohol, make sure you're alternating that with water or other fluids.
Great advice. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We really appreciate it. Thank you.